Bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to talk about antibiotics. But first, if you are interested in detective stories, I have written a 11-part novel, not novel, detective series, and yeah, it's called Bloody Crosses. And if you're interested in it, the link to buy this book will be down below in the description. So if you're interested in detective stories, I would say take a look. So now, antibiotics. I've said that I would try to make homemade penicillin, and to be honest, it has failed miserably. Why? Yeah, I had petri dishes. I have taken the homemade bread. I let it soak in with in plastic in water for a few days till it start to show a blue. How do you say this? A blue greenish fungus, and I tried to put it on a petri dish with other bacteria to see if it would kill those bacteria, and it has failed. So I did not create the penicillin that would kill the bacteria, and even if I did, that would only be halfway the step to extract it to make it into a useful antibiotics that you can use to treat infections in a survival situation. So that did fail, but the thing is, we do these tests, we try to do this in front so we can learn from it while the getting is good and the times are not of the essence. So imagine if you have to learn this process while somebody has an infection, and it could be a matter of days that this person could die from the infection and you cannot make the antibiotics. So that's why we do tests while we can. So I'm going to talk. I made here a list of things I want to talk about, so you don't make the same mistakes as I do. So antibiotics. What are antibiotics? Well, it's an invention that how do you say this saved millions of lives. People who otherwise be even die of even easy treatable infections have been saved by this medical cure. So what is antibiotics? Antibiotics do several things. First of all, it prevents the growth of certain types of bacteria. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is it prevents that bacteria of grow protein that will make them grow faster. So in a way that will induce the growth of the bacteria, the ability of them. And the last thing is it will kill the enzymes, attacks the enzymes of the bacteria. So yeah, those are the general main things. It's a crude way to say this, but it's more specialized. So this is the reason why people who are become doctors, pharmacy, and so such, these people have to educate themselves years and years and practice to get these things right. So with specialized stuff, so imagine how hard it will be if you have to do this homemade. So what are the risks of antibiotics? Because that's also very important. People only think about the good parts of antibiotics. So the bad part is it suppresses the immune system. So yeah, it's in a way it will treat a certain infection that you have, but there is also a chance that you are more how do you say this, suspicious, that you're more susceptible to other things that by antibiotics cannot cure, like viruses and certain types of sickness. So in like the flu, that's something that antibiotics does not work. So imagine you have an infection, you want to treat it with antibiotics, so your immune system goes down, and yeah, you get the flu or a virus, and that will make things worse. So that's why it's very specialized. Another thing is not many people think about it, but antibiotics also destroy the good bacteria. We have in our body we have a lot of bacteria and good bacteria, like in the intestines, in the stomach. We have millions, thousands different of types of bacteria that help with the processing of the food, get the nutrients for the immune system. And antibiotics is actually you can see it as a mass weapon of mass destruction, because it will not only kill the bacteria but also the good one, and that's the reason why the immune system also goes down. So be careful with those. Another thing is it can prevent it. you will get a loss of nutrition compounds. So yeah, certain nutrition parts you will not get passed through the, how do you say this, your system, because like I said, it kills the good bacteria that will process certain nutrient parts, and you will not get that. So that's, you can in a way have a sort of nutrition deficiency by getting treated with antibiotics. And the last thing is allergic reactions. Some people do not react well to antibiotics, and yeah, if you have an infection and you are not reacting well to the treatment of the antibiotics, that's a double blow to your health. So be careful with that. So um, yeah, the next I will talk about to make how to homemade penicillin, because this is the thing that most preppers talk about. Uh, what does homemade penicillin do and not do? I will look at my list because I do not want to skip anything. I will start with the negative parts because people uh, will only look at the good parts. So I will start with the negative parts. So some what do you say this? People with less attention will not get over it. So it will not. If you're going to make homemade penicillin, it will not work against superbugs. So that means that's a problem these days because we use so much antibiotics. There is antibiotics in the food supply, like in animals that are in stock. How do you say, in livestock and meat that we eat? There is a lot of antibiotics, and that will get into our bodies, and yeah, that will make us a little bit more immune to it in a way. So yeah, so in that way, superbugs can grow and start to develop, and that's not that there is nothing else we can do because against it, because those superbugs are immune to even the newest antibiotics. Next thing is it will not treat all infections. Like I said before, viruses and flu, those are the things that antibiotics will not work against, so that you need to watch out for. And like I said, this is the reason why I failed with my penicillin. It requires very specialized ingredients and actually also kind of uh, not devices, but things that you can grow them, that you specialists can grow in them, like a distilled water and petri dishes, perhaps microscope that will help with it. And that's only to make it. If you want to extract it in a certain way, mm, that's kind of tricky. So yeah, don't uh, don't think it's too easy. So yeah, that's the next thing is oh, that is something that I did not know because it looked so much easier. If you're going to make homemade penicillin and you are going to use it, you will need a lot of it. It's not just that you take one moldy bread and get the penicillin out and inject it in someone and it will be cured. No, you need antibiotic cure. You will need a lot of it over a certain period of time to that it will work. So yeah, it's something that you need to specialize in. So this is why people study a lot for it. So what are the positive sides if you're able to be expert or have the expertise and the right tools, ingredients to make homemade penicillin? Well, you can use it as a bartering item because when all the medical uh, when all the medical professionals are busy saving their own family during shitty defense situation or other types of scenarios, or by embargoes or the high prices that antibiotics are not available anymore. So it's hard to get antibiotics right now when the getting is good because you need prescriptions and it's expensive. So imagine during a shitty defense situation how expensive and hard to get it will be. So yeah, if you're able to do that, you will be a very valuable asset to the community. If you're able to do that, you'll be able to save hundreds of lives, and that's a specialization that you as a prepper will be able to barter for. So yeah, that's a good thing. And if you are able to make a homemade penicillin, that's a last resort to help yourself, your family, your friends who have been running up to against an infection from something even as small as a cut in the finger during SHTF. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do. And the thing that homemade penicillin does mostly is treat throat, skin, and respiration infections. So yeah, those are the things that you will usually will be able to treat with it. So um, what? So yeah, if you want to make your homemade penicillin and you want to do it the right way, I would advise to look it up with specialized people, with experts. And I did not do that in the fullest capacity because I only looked at a few sources. But yeah, I would advise to look at several sources and try to see how they do it, to learn from it. And yeah, you can perhaps in case of the grid goes down, I would say download it in a sort of ebook onto your computer that you can look it up, because yeah, it helps if you get the pictures, the drawings, the schematics on how to use it, like how much you can use on a person with that height, that weight, or with a person with that problems, because it's very specialized and difficult. All right. So alternatives. Oh wait, I forgot something. If you're going to make homemade penicillin, there are certain things you will hear that I thought that would work because I heard it in several sources, but most sources and experts and specialized medical personnel say this homemade penicillin will not work if you rub it onto a wound. It will work for surface infections, like if you have a cut and it will infect, and you make homemade penicillin and you rub it onto the wound. It will only kill the surface bacteria, but it will not get deep enough to get into your blood vessels if the infection goes deeper. So the moment the infection is deeper in your body, it will not work by rubbing the penicillin onto the wound. So that's something that I would have made a mistake if I did not get spat onto it. The next thing is what I heard is drink mold tea from the penicillin, but yeah, the medical experts do not condone this, because if you think logically about it, if you make tea of the mold and you drink it, yeah, there is a thing that they say the moldy bread with the green bluish mold. You break it into pieces, you break it into tea, you drink it, and you will get the penicillin into your body. But most of it will be, how do you say this, digested by your stomach acids, and it will not get sufficiently into your body. So you will have to drink a lot of it, which can also be dangerous. So yeah, that's kind of very dangerous. Usually, if you have extracted penicillin from it, the most useful way, like they do it now, is inject it directly into the bloodstream. And yeah, you need to be very specialized to do that. So be carefully about it. That is on your own risk as a last resort, and if you know what you're doing. So keep practicing, keep learning, keep looking at information about it. So alternatives. What are alternatives to antibiotics? Well, there's two types that you can do. The first is what a lot of preppers talk about is animal antibiotics. So we're talking about antibiotics like from doctors, animal doctors. How do you call this in English? You know what I mean. These have antibiotics that could be used for humans, but yeah, yet again, it's not. There's a reason why it's for animals, so you have to be very you have to calculate and be very carefully with what kind of doses and ingredients the certain type of antibiotics for animals have. So it could be dangerous if you do not know what you're doing. The next thing is what I hear is fish antibiotics. So where fish antibiotics are a good, I do not know this, so it's on your own medical discretion. But I have seen many sources that will condone this from preppers with more experience, and that is fish antibiotics like amoxicillin. Why fish antibiotics? Because it's easy to get, it's cheap, and it does not require a prescription. So in last resort, if there is no other option you can stockpile these and use it in as a last resort if somebody has an infection of your friends, family, or partner, or children. But it's on your own discretion, so be very carefully about it. So yeah, animal antibiotics are something that you can stockpile in a case of an emergency. The next thing is herbal alternatives, and I would advise to get some books on like this one. This is a book about natural antibiotics from plants that are being grown into Belgium, and these plants contain small doses of have these plants have antibiotic properties. They are not fully antibiotica, but they have the properties that could help with fighting infection in case of needs. So, what are the best alternatives that I have found in this book that contains antibiotic properties? Lemons, eucalyptus, camille, garlic. Garlic is actually a very good one because even if you look it up into history. Into history about daily life of people, there is a reason why garlic was often regarded as a good medicinal plant, because they made ointments of it against all sort of infections like the eye, the throat, the stomach, on your body, on your guts. So garlic is one of those things that you certainly have to grow if you are going to grow something in your garden. Garlic is one of those good plants, and in case vampires attack, you have garlic to use against them. So that's a little joke. Um, Garlic, very important, and one of the most important things, because there are so many things you can do. If you have infection on your tooth or even toothache, you can take a little piece of garlic, and you chew on it, and by chewing it, it releases certain compounds that will kill the pain of the tooth for a certain amount of period, a small amount to be honest, and it can help against the infection onto the tooth. So that's something that garlic also does. And next thing, lavender, salie, thyme, and another thing, onions. Onions, just like garlic, has some good properties, and there's a reason why onions are one of the staple foods that most people in the world have, and that's because these are not only it taste good, but they also have good nutritional properties, and they have some medicinal properties. So yeah, these are the things that you can to think about if you're going to prep and you think about antibiotics. Look all this up, what I have said, because this is just a small portion. What I said right now is only 0.2% percent. Fuck. You know what I mean. It's just a very, very tiny part of the things that you need to know. So thank you for. I need to go. So if you're interested into detective stories, look the link down below. If you, I would say, leave a like, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Share this video, and thank you for watching. And see you in the next video. So, cheers.